So for example, for me, as a sales consultant, I focus a lot on the psychology, the systems. I work on the mindset, the strategies, working with teams, motivation, and I do things dramatically different than a lot of other sales coaches and sales consultants, which then allows me to partner with them. Because I've niched down further into my market, they go, oh, when I need somebody that can help me with this stuff, I have an expert on that. So I want you to think about not just, how you're competing against everybody in your market that does what you do. Find out how you can do something differently than what they do. And so, for example, there's a couple examples here. We can send you guys these slides as well. But this is an example that I found. DeWalt, what they did for their branding, if you ever use power tools, they wanted to not be compared to the Walmart, the Target, and the ones that are just like the cheap ones for the home builder DIY. But they also didn't want to compete with the major power tool companies. So they picked the niche, which was for the serious DIYers, and that allows them to have a very specific role in the marketplace. That's one. The other one here I looked at was Pixar. Pixar was a very cool one where they said, we don't want to compete with, the Snow White movies, the Disney movies. We want to have animations that compete with or that are for all ages. And so they went from, having maybe $1 million movie to $1 billion movie. And that's how they looked at being able to position themselves in this market. So when you're thinking about your competition, think about what your competitors do. When we talk about competitors, just think about everybody in your market, right? The people that are doing very similar things to you. I do a lot of work with financial planners. We do a lot of work with lawyers. And, on the surface, everybody could be doing very similar things. They might have different services, but can you create a unique offer that you can do absolutely different and drive home that difference without mentioning your competitors? We're never going to go out and bash our competitors, but we're saying, oh, that's great. I love that everybody is serving our community in this way. And here's what I do uniquely that can help you serve that. So this allows you then to think, how can you be that only choice? How can you be the one that stands on an island to themselves?
Absolutely. I think this is the number one thing that as professional services become commoditized in the sense that it feels like there's 1,000 options out there. What makes you different from more local option or the 10,000 options within the city is really diving deep into what makes you different and really leaning in on that and finding strategic relationships that will help bolster that. It can be difficult in the sense of it seems like it's all high level. I'm so sorry, I'm crazy. Joe, go ahead.
Oh, she's beautiful. Oh, it's dog time. Okay, look, I got this. I got you, Kendall. Here we go. So when we're talking this, that's good because this is the one she tried to steal from me. So we're going to talk about it behind her back while she goes and sorts out her dog. This is what I want you to think about. So when you're looking at this, one of the things we'll show you is when you're building out your offers, look at building it in either phases or in multiple tiers of an offer. And you can actually do this with price anchoring. There's lots of stuff you can do with your offer. And on your low cost one, you can solve an immediate problem, especially when you talk about that substantiate part of the offer. This allows you to say, hey, like if you feel like your customer's like, I'm not quite ready to give you $400 million because we just met and my credit card's not working, all this stuff. I say, cool, why don't we do this? We could start by just solving this thing. You told me this, and for a couple grand, we can put this in place. Then once we have that rolling, then we could do this thing that's maybe a 6-month engagement. We could do this, we could do that. And then we could say, but if we really want to get crazy, here's what we could do. And what you're doing is you're not necessarily trying to sell option 3, and you definitely don't want to downsell them into option 1. What you're doing is you want to get people anchored to say, hey, there is a less risky version of this, and it makes it so that it's not should I buy, but how should I buy? So this then removes the pressure from you having to convince them to get the one thing you offer. So if you go, okay, here's what I think we should do. Typically, we work with a client at 6 months. We do this. We're going to help them do this. We're going to work on this. We'll put this SPA thing in place if Michael's on here as well. Then we put this, succession planning assessment in place. We'll do this. Maybe we'll do some coaching around that. And they're going to go, I don't know if we're quite ready for that. You say, no problem. Why don't we start with this thing here? We're just going to start with that. We'll do that over the next 30 days and solve that. And then we'll look at the next phases. But you might also say, because our best clients that we work with, that we've been working with 2, 3, 4, 5 years. I know I do this all the time in my own sales calls. I brag about the clients that I've been working with for a while and the kinds of crazy things we're doing now, which anchors in their mind there's a different future. This isn't the only decision. It's not that today, I always say to my clients, I don't want your today money, I want your tomorrow money. Let's help you create wins. Let's help you create something so that we're having a better, different conversation. I want you to not need me in 6 months. I want you to want me in 6 months to help us. And let's get deeper into this stuff and help solve this. So as you're building out your offer, think about the main one you want to do. And I would say as a number, 75% of the people should buy your option 2. That's what you're trying to sell. And then maybe 5% will buy option 3, and then 25 or 20% will buy option 1. That's okay, right? Because if you don't have these options and you're not anchoring those prices, and also like if I was to give you a number, let's say option 1, you could do 500, option 2, you could maybe do 2,000, and option 3, you might be 10, 15, 20,000. That option 3 should feel a little bit way too scary versus option 2, which then anchors option 2 as a better price. And option 1 should feel like an easy decision, but still close enough to option 2 that they say option 2, you know, if I'm going to spend that, I might as well do this. That's how the price anchoring side works. Little psychology there. Here we go. And don't apologize for your dog. I love that.
Good stuff. Yeah. And something to think about too, from the experience I have working with this small consulting firm, oftentimes we didn't even know there was a firm out there that could facilitate all of these issues and integrate it. So if you're in a position that you can leverage, one, the discussions and some of the education we've provided around the succession matrix approach, but really step back and provide a holistic planning strategy for your clients, you will provide them so much value, because otherwise everything that they're doing is, or most of the time, the type of services that they're receiving are very, very siloed. And they're not, the advisors are not working well together. They're not communicating together. And so they essentially have to go to 5 or 6 different advisors to get the services they need from the diversity of issues that they have based upon the type of business, the size of business, and perhaps the international or domestic side. And so if they're in a position to come to you and have a holistic strategy that you as a professional service provider are coordinating all of these different areas, it makes life easier for them. They're in a much more trusted position for you, because it's essentially a one-stop shop. They know that you're not probably delivering all the services, but they trust you because you have that strong, deep network and are able to facilitate almost any need that they have.